talk to.
As we're already going live,
No,
who did you talk to?
I can't say.
Do I have to go off live now?
No, you can keep. You stay live. I'll text you about it.
I didn't even. I don't even know if anyone will even. Maybe people will watch. I didn't announce any of this, but it really doesn't matter. Are you texting me?
Yeah.
All right. So you can't give us this many days of I don't know what to do with myself.
What do you mean?
Well, I don't have any tournaments. And
Bradley is watching the Rugby World Cup.
yeah, no, I saw that. Well, I gotta watch that because I don't have it on I like going full screen.
What does that mean?
Like the whole screen, but then I have to keep it on the regular screen to have so I can watch comments and stuff like that.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah. So you like watching yourself that much, huh?
No, but I mean I just, you know. Yeah, did you get a bunch of rain?
Dude, I had
Yeah.
to cancel. I had to cancel football practice for today. We were supposed to have football practice, and I went by the fields. That's why I was running a little bit late. I ran by the fields, and they were just trashed. I mean,
Really?
yeah.
I think we were playing on turf today, soccer, so if I go, I don't know.
We're not fancy like that in where I'm at.
Well, I think we had to pay for these. Like normally we don't. I think we have to go to this one place. What is the winning way? Hey, okay. So I'm already gonna go ahead and start showing some of these just because if not, we'll get into all this stuff we want to talk about through questions. Watch, because I already get to bring up what's the winning weight of Conroe Belt tournament next year? Good question. Considering I just looked at the schedule. So we were talking about schedules earlier. Like me and Andrew talked earlier today.
For like an hour and a half.
It was a long time. I'm like, what are we doing? We just might as well go live and talk about all this stuff because I'm sure, because we get into a bunch of cool stuff. So I looked at it one more time. So all I know is this is I don't know how I'm going to fish any opens.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen with that. And then Bass Champs put tournaments the week before Brandon Belt events. I haven't looked at the Brandon Belt events, but last year there was a 10-day off limits. So none of those guys fishing the Brandon Belts can go. We can't fish the Bass Champs.
If it's on the same lake, right?
Yeah, but they are.
Oh, are they? Oh, okay.
Well, one of them's the January event, and then you were talking about fishing the Brandon Belt event, and then the other one is the super or that big $100,000 one, and it's a week before that one. I don't remember what the off limits were on that one. It might just be 3 days. It might just be that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah, I thought on that it was just the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off limits.
Okay, so that might be all right.
Yeah.
But then I think they're on top of. I got it right over there. Oh no, I got it right here. Can I do that? What happens if I do that?
And nothing. I mean, your camera's still rolling. So
my camera's still rolling. Okay, so good. I'm looking. So Bass Champs is January 20th, and then Brandon Belt's the 27th. So if it's still the same off limits, can't do it. February 17th, they got a Triple T on Rayburn and a Bass Champs on Fork. March 2nd, they got a Bass Champs on Rayburn. I guess if that Grand Slam is no off limits or just 3 days, you're good.
Yeah.
March 23rd, there's a Triple T, TXCT on Rayburn or Cedar Creek. So as of right now, there's possibly 2.
Yeah.
2 for I know of that I can fish. You got to fish 3 for the championship.
What do you have to fish 3 or
no? You probably only have to pay, which I know that's an option, but I hate doing that because I'd rather.
You don't want to just throw money. It's like going in the casino and just throwing your money in the door.
I don't mind doing it once or twice, but I'd rather fish just because I want to fish. And then the opens are one of them is on the Washita events right on top of something, and then the Logan Martin one's right on top of something, and the only other one is the Eufaula event. And I don't know, man. It's just kind of
It's an interesting schedule for the opens. I did a video the other day about it, just kind of breaking down the schedule and everything. And um, Todd and I were talking about it earlier. It's so frustrating. You know, these organizations, not even just Bassmaster MLF, because they've done it for as long as I can remember, just continually schedule things on top of each other and make you have to pick which one you're gonna watch and things like that. But the fact that these local tournament organizations don't get together and be like, hey, let's make it the best that we can. There's basically three big tournament organizations in Texas for the most part. Three that travel all over. You got the Texas Team Trail, you got Brandon Belt's tournament series, and you got Bass Champs.
I'm going to throw in there. Well, I'm going to throw in there another one because
What?
Bass Champs wasn't a thing that they went all over Texas, but I never cared about Bass Champs because there were so many divisions.
Yeah, it was a bunch of different division
So
things.
now they're only going to one, but I would throw the TTOs in there, although they don't go everywhere, but their payout was possibly better than everyone's last year except the Brandon Belts. I mean, the TXTT paid out a lot, but it was a lot out for first. And then after that
My
wasn't so
point
great.
is the fact that
Yeah.
you're cannibalizing yourself by not allowing these anglers to fish everything. Because a lot of these guys, the ones that especially the ones that you see go fish the Belt Series or the Texas Team Trail, they're already paying fairly large entry fees. They're willing to go jump into Bass Champs, go and jump into an Outlaw Series, whatever the series may be, a TTO, whatever. And when you put those on top of each other, it's really hard to justify. You're making an angler pit. You're like, oh, you got to pick
Well,
sides.
well, here's the other thing too, is that like when we wanted that platinum trail, half of our deal was just trying to get some tournaments to go throughout the year. If you look, so I'm looking right now, Triple T ends in June 8th and 9th. Like they're done. Bass Champs looks like they're done. Hold on, let me see when they're done. They're done May 11th. Right? Brandon Bell at least has one in July.
Yeah.
But I mean, then you look up and there's like the Brandon Belt Championship, I think, since where is it?
October, or is that
It's in July. I'm sorry. Yeah, their championships in July.
the championship Bass Champs? I think is October, like
Correct.
second week of October.
It is. So I'm just saying, like you look up and they all try to squeeze them all right there. And I don't know if they're worried about freaking fish dying or whatever it is.
I mean, but
But
the reality is like you could go to the fall, push a series to the fall, and you're not going to have the mortality
you
rate.
don't have to push a series, but have a tournament or two
Yeah,
go
that's
the
what I'm
way.
saying. I'm just saying, like,
Oh,
having like one or two
yeah,
tournaments. Like,
yeah.
you don't have to have just because there's July, August, September right there. Doesn't mean you have to have tournaments. Then you can
Right.
literally just kind of go everywhere. But that's funny.
I wanted to see, okay, I was about to ask this guy, well, what are we talking about here? And then he followed it up. I'm assuming it might be over the big bat that I'm assuming it's over their big bass tournament thing, maybe.
Maybe I don't know what I mean. Bass champs, they've had quite a few cheating scandals
Dude,
over the
there's
last.
so listen, the
Yeah,
cheating. So we went for a while, or there was a couple years in there where I kind of thought the cheating thing was like, God, how did we get into this so quickly? I kind of thought that the cheating thing was over with,
no,
and like especially in team events. Like I kind of thought, like especially like where we are, like I didn't think much about it. Then this past year happened, and I like it's 99.9% there was some cheating going on. I mean, it was so bad, and no one's talking about it because guys don't know about it. I've stayed quiet on the whole deal, but it was there was hours of phone calls and talks about a couple. Um, and I told everyone what was going to happen. I told everyone what was going to happen, and I get tired of I get tired of telling them what's going to happen, and it happens exactly like I tell them. And me and you kind of talked about this with what was going to go on with like tournament trails. Like
Mhm.
we've called out some things bad in the industry and said, "Hey, this is about to happen," and it has happened. I mean, exactly like what we have said, from like from major trails to all kinds of things. But
Yeah.
yeah, these guys 100 they cheated, and no one will probably ever hear about it, and it's just horrible. But then because I got this like weird thought process that like, man, people are probably doing the right thing, and then all of a sudden in the majors, the professional league, then you see what happens when you put cameras on everyone's boats and all this stuff, and you're like, oh, well, it's happening up there really bad too. So
Oh, yeah.
it's not going away.
No, no, it's not. I mean, which is good because it gives us something to talk about. So,
True.
and he said he's just talking in general with champs. He just doesn't like it.
Uh,
He doesn't like Chad Potts, is what he said. But no, I mean the tournament landscape is really changing. I mean, it's always been changing though. I mean, you could look back for the last 20 years and there's been so many trails either pop up, go away, new divisions being started, all these different things are adjusting. And we've had great times in the industry where there was money just flying off the shelf everywhere, and then there's been years where it's been the tightest it's ever been. So I think you kind of get a mixture of both in that situation. So
well, and I came up. so I came up at Lake of the Ozarks on day one, and I think I was like one of the last boat numbers. I think,
mhm.
and Ish was sitting there. You weren't there, but I pulled up to it. Who else was around? I think Chad Warren was around. Uh, I talked to him for a second, but anyways, I said, "Hey, man, there was I would say 90% of the boats in the open were wrapped,"
Oh yeah, at least.
and
Yeah.
I was going. And I didn't say nothing to Ish. And as I go over to Ish, Ish made the comment. Now, this is coming from a guy who also has his boat wrapped. But I mean, I but I know Ish is, Ish, there's guys that like, and I'm not taking away from anyone that has their boat wrapped. I was just going, well, man, if you didn't know any different, you would think that there is money just being handed out to like there's all kind of money in the industry when we know there's not. We know there's not a lot of money in the industry right now, or they're not giving it away. So I was shocked to see. I'm not shocked to see all these raps, but
Well, it's crazy. So I mean, whenever I traveled all year for the opens, and I would dare to say I saw more rat boats at Lake of the Ozarks than I did all the other opens.
yeah, why
It's
was it?
just
But
a weird situation where it's like I don't know if it's just the area. Like we
no,
have a lot of
no. Well, that's what I was going to say. Is I was
yeah,
there for the Toyota,
yeah,
and there's more locals there than any, and it wasn't like that at all.
no. So I don't know. It's a really confusing thing because I mean, don't get me wrong. You see a bunch of rat boats, and I have all year, but like it did seem like it was a little bit more at that particular event. So I honestly like it was kind of baffling to me as well. But I mean, I run a rat boat, but I have to, you
Yeah,
know,
but that's
it's just a
well,
different
yeah.
situation. But
But
like,
listen, that's when like there's some people that do, and when you know the guys that do, and I said Ish makes sense, right?
yeah,
A Bobby Lane makes sense. I know you've got your own TV show, you've got things worked out. Like
yeah.
like there's a bunch there, right? And then you look at some other guy and like it's not so much that I don't know, man. Like there's no way. There's certain companies that can't wrap your boat.
Well, yeah,
Okay. And so I would say like a weight company or a hook company,
yeah.
like those companies, the margins on those things are so small that there's no way they could pay somebody $20,000 to wrap your boat.
I will give you a different perspective on this, and it just obviously having my own business, working, doing
Now that's different.
everything.
That's different.
But the deal is, I do think that there is a portion, and I'm not saying all of them by any means, but I think there is a portion of anglers, not just in the opens, but in general, that are either doing it for their own business,
That's a small portion.
or they're doing it for a brother-in-law, or they're doing it for their friend to help them out, or they're,
I'm cool with that.
and they know that they're going to get a picture taken of it, and they're like, "Oh man, hey, look at this cool photo I got on my boat with your logo on it," and they're not even in it for the money, and so
I'm okay with that. Like,
but
I've
the
always
ones
said,
that are getting that are wrapped, and this is just perfectly a reference. I'm not singling, but let's just say Yamaha wrap, and they have a Yamaha wrap, and I'm like, I don't even know who you are. Like, and it's not any offense to that angler, but it's
no. That's what I'm talking about,
yeah,
is that there's some, like, you start, like, me and Ish were like looking around going, like, we know some of these companies and we know some of the things going on, and we're like,
yeah,
so, but now if I'm going to pick this because my buddy had a wrap, and I always told him, I'm like, he asked me, he's like, what do you think? I'm like, dude, keep that. It was an insurance wrap. It was his own insurance.
yeah.
And I'm like, with your number on there, I'm like, yeah, like, that's way different. Like, I'm all for that.
No,
But he's not repping another company that's not paying him hardly anything. There's a totally different deal.
that's a really good one. Jamie said something really funny. Plus 10 on skill with a wrap boat.
Oh yeah.
I like it.
I just found like, look, I don't care. Like, it doesn't affect me one way or the other. I was just looking at it going,
I'll be honest. If let's just say, for instance, hypothetically speaking, I didn't have a company that was wrapping my boat. Let's just say there was no company. I'd probably still wrap my boat, but it just wouldn't have any logos on it. It would literally just be a blank wrap. Just somebody mentioned in the comments about it protecting the boat, and it does. Like, it protects it significantly.
right.
Especially as much as I'm on the road and like fishing all over the place, and places where like the Ozarks, you got a ton of docks, you got dock cables, and I mean you take a risk of scarring your boat up all the time. So
I didn't hit a single one.
I don't believe you whatsoever.
I didn't.
Todd, I fished with you too much. You ain't gonna lie.
Dude, I was so good.
You're not that good.
I was good. I'm telling you, man. Like, I didn't put it, like, not a one time.
I just don't believe you.
Well, whatever.
Only agree to disagree. Yeah, Ultimate Patch Pirate has Merc wrap on one side and Yami on the other side.
Wait, do what?
That's good. I mean, I remember those days when they'd have like 3 soft plastic companies on their jerseys.
Oh yeah, I know. I look at that stuff too. But I always look at, like, when you see multiple, like, when you see conflicting sponsors on the same deal. But I mean, dude, jerseys and stuff, man, I have a different look at, like, now that the way social media is of like just videos, this kind of stuff, whatever it might be,
away with it.
It's pointless.
Yeah.
Like, jerseys, wrap boats aren't. Like, wrap boats, I don't think, like, if you've got a cool big, like, on the big scale, like, if yours is yours Academy?
Yeah, as Academy.
That's big.
Yeah.
Right. If it's one big thing, but if you've got a bunch of, like, the little stuff on there, I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying, like, if it was,
I mean, I honestly, I've never been a big fan of. I tell you who's really. It used to be really bad. I don't know how that is now, and I'm not making fun of the guy. He's a friend of mine. But I'd give him a hard time about it even to this day. Is Fred Urbanis. That dude used to have like so many logos. Like, if there was a spot for a logo, that dude had a logo there. But he was always so cognizant of like, he's like, I'm gonna have to put one on my console right here because
dude, it's like
here when I'm doing this, and I'm
Big
like,
Newtons.
oh my God,
it was like Big Newtons on
Talladega Nights.
Yeah, and he was like, oh, I got a little spot I can see right through here.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because and then you see bad wraps where it's like it's all over the place. I'm like, hey, like, every once in a while I'll see a wrap. I'm like, that's a good wrap. Like, that's a wrap I can see from a long ways away. Like, whoever did that was like, they did it smart. Like, it sits in the water because you have to do it with the water. Not that it matters because most of it's driving on the highway, in my opinion. But if you can see it, and then a lot of times, even if you don't know what it is, Like if it's whatever it is, make sure you can see it and it stands out and you can read it.
Well, that's the worst part is you see I mean because I work in marketing and I did work in marketing for years. I mean over a decade, and the one thing that I saw a lot of people do, especially boat wraps, jersey designs, is it was almost impossible to read. I mean because they would use terrible colors on their jersey or it was just so busy to the point where you couldn't see anything. And same way on a wrap. I mean if you have a red wrap and you've got white lettering on it, like my shirt, it stands out here. You can see
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
But when you just have white lettering all across, like it blends together. It doesn't look like worth a crap. And you got to have a more of a black or a really dark background, a darker background, or even like Costa used to have a great one with the blue with the white. I mean, it looked good. It was so recognizable. There's definitely some that are really, really good, but
See, but this one I'll say about like I have, of course, I've been with Costa for a long time, but Costa you have to have. I'm sure you have to have Costa on your jersey, but they really just want you to wear Costas across the stage, like
yeah,
like if you win. But dude, listen, I'm different on contingencies. I think contingencies, like I love contingencies. I don't. If someone asks me now, granted, it can't conflict.
hmm
But dude, for me personally, contingencies play me better than most freaking sponsors. So like if a contingency is like, hey man, we're gonna do this for you rather than pay you this much money, I'm like, oh, I have an option to make this much money through contingencies. Sign me up.
yeah,
Because I promise you, companies rarely pay you that much. And if I can make 4 or 5 grand off contingencies a year, I'm like, dude, I'll take that over. One, it allows them to know what you're actually doing.
yeah,
Because I have had a lot of people, like especially when I ran with Legend, dude, they know how good you're doing in tournaments when you keep on sending in freaking claim forms.
yep,
So like to me, and we were talking about this earlier about how certain sponsors really pay attention to people and others like don't. And I'm always for the guys that really like pay attention to you.
yeah. Oh yeah.
So like it makes them really pay. I think I have more of these sponsors that kind of keep up with me because of that. Then I don't have to like, hey, I did good in a tournament over here, or I'm doing good on social media, whatever it might be.
Yeah, that's it's a shame that there's definitely sponsors out there, and I'm not singling anybody out, but there's definitely sponsors out there that they invest all this money into an angler or a group or an organization or whatever, and then they're too busy to keep up with it. Like they expect, like they're like, hey, have you sent me your report yet? What have you been doing? I hadn't been able to keep up with it. Like, what do you mean you haven't been able to keep up with it? If I spent X amount of money on somebody, I'm going to know exactly what they're doing, no matter if they tell me or they don't tell me. Like,
Yeah.
and even if I have to hire an assistant just to watch that
Well,
angler or 5 anglers or 5 groups or whatever.
well, here's the deal: is that like in 6 months. So if 6 months go by, all I have to do is go look up Andrew Upshaw on Instagram
hmm
and go, what's he done over the past 6? I don't have to follow you. I could
Yeah,
every 6 months go and look and go, dang, that's pretty good. And the only reason I say that is because there's an issue with a guy and this and that. And I'm like, why are they sponsoring that? Like, why are they sponsoring this guy? It was a long ordeal and it was about something that happened. And I go, well, why would y'all even do this? And I went and showed him, like, have you looked? Is it for social media? Like, what are you gaining? And I was like, look at these posts for his last 15 posts over 6 months. There's not one single post with any of your stuff. I'm like, and they're like, oh. I'm like, well, what do you mean, oh? Like, pay attention to some of that stuff.
yeah,
And I'm not saying post or anything, but I'm just going, we're different because we look at it now, we're way past the whole social media thing. And
yeah.
like, well, I made 2 posts I
A
mean, I
month.
needed to make a
Yeah,
post a month. I'm like, dude, I just post stuff. Like, it'll all come out eventually. And I'm
Well,
not
I was
making.
I was working through my numbers and stuff because I'm sending decks and portfolios to sponsors and things like that, and year-end recaps and stuff, and I was looking at some of my social numbers and stuff, and it's like social media as a whole for what I do, it's just like I'm not gonna say an add-on or like an additional like whatever, but when you start looking at true numbers that you get from TV, YouTube, and you start breaking down each section of what you do, it's pretty remarkable just the amount of views and eyeballs you get over the course of a year or even a 9-month period. But more particularly, on social, for instance, there might be a week or two that I don't post, or a week and a half that I don't post on my own personal one. Whereas on my business page, like as far as Let's Fish TV, I mean, we post 4 or 5 times a week, and I mean, your numbers are constant and continually growing and things like that. So it's really important to look at it from a whole framework. Anglers these days, everything's changing. And Todd and I were talking about it earlier. The day and age of just being a good fisherman, that's been gone, and companies are starting to realize it, but that's been gone for years now. You can't just walk in and say, "Hey, I'm just the best angler in the room and pay me money and expect to do well." I mean, you got to have a media platform. You got to have, and honestly, in this case, you got to have multiple media platforms, and if you want to be successful. So
I think now more. Uh, I think now more than ever, uh, with the way professional fishing is going, it's a professional. Here's what me and you always said this when we got in the YouTube game. Our view on YouTube when we first, a lot of our views have changed over. I wouldn't say they've changed, but I will say this: we got into YouTube, and then we kind of got like ridiculed a little bit on our YouTube. When I say ridiculed, I don't know what the right word is, but like we got into YouTube thinking just being ourselves and doing our YouTube thing, like showing people what it was. We didn't think like we didn't have an agenda. We didn't have we had none of that. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like we just went in there going, this is what we've been doing for the last 15 years. We're videoing it now. Here it is.
yeah,
And when we got on there, I mean, I know the pushback from people were like, what is this to a degree?
yeah.
Because we didn't fit all the other YouTubers
No,
because we weren't those guys. We were these guys. And we were just real fishermen that started doing YouTube. We weren't YouTubers that started trying to fish. And it's after the first year and a half of like, there would be like these weird, stupid little kid fights on YouTube. And I'm like, yeah, I never got involved in that because I was like, what? Like YouTubers were getting mad at us. It was a
oh,
weird
dude, it was
thing.
bad. Yeah,
Yeah, and we were like, and I was like, hey, we're not like y'all. We're not watching all y'all's YouTubes. Like, I haven't.
I don't even know who you are.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't even
in
know who you
my
are.
opinion, I
If
just
I
don't know who
said
you are.
something, yeah, if I said something against you, I didn't mention your name. It just you took offense to it because I just realized that's what was going on. So from that, now when we look at it, now it's starting to change. But we viewed our professional fishing, and I say that loosely, but we viewed our fishing as a way to, what's the word I'm trying to that
To help,
back our YouTube,
yeah,
right? It gave legitimacy to our YouTube. And I think some YouTubers now saw that and actually I think I'm not saying Ben Milliken did that. Um I think it's the only one that has worked. I think Ben Milliken instantly was like, well, if I go fish I think he got legitimized, maybe not by all the people on YouTube, but I would dare to say I wouldn't say there's one single person that fished the opens that didn't give him credit going, hey man, that guy did YouTube and came into fishing and made it.
absolutely, yeah, no
So
doubt.
like I would say, I don't know if there's any other guys that are like him. He might be the only one.
Yeah, I don't. As far as I know, I haven't seen another one that it's exploded out there and done well.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is the fact that even Ben, I've never even had a conversation with Ben Milliken, and I mean, he seems like a nice guy from my interaction, like just around him and stuff. I've literally been parked next to him a couple of times, and just never really talked.
I've talked to him a couple times. I talked to
But
him at Lake of the
I mean,
Ozarks.
he wants Lee to bend, and he's unless he just pulls a rabbit out of his hat at this last event, is not going to make the Elite Series. So it just goes to show, like,
Well,
you can go win one.
he made 2 top 10s,
I
like, back
know.
to back in the first 2 ones, and, yeah, I know he's up there. I know you were up there. I also know that that last one, like, he could do it, I think, but he only can do it if other people.
Oh, there's going to have to be a lot of mess
Right.
ups, like a lot of mess ups. But you know, it's just a very interesting place where we're at right now. But I do want to address this comment that you have here.
Which
How
one?
would you sell or explain impressions back in the day when wrapping
Yeah, yeah,
trucks
yeah.
and boat companies? You
There
know,
was a way to do it.
yeah, there was a way to do it. I would say now it's definitely changed a little bit, but I mean, the way that I was always told when it comes to boat wrap, truck wraps, um, it has to do with it's just the same as like a billboard. So like a regular billboard, and it's just a mobile billboard. But a lot of times you're driving too fast. You know, people aren't really going to get a good look at it. I mean, don't get me wrong, they do, but like if you have a bunch of logos on there, they don't see it. The if you have a bunch of logos, it's better for like photos and things like that. But when you're driving down the road, if you have one singular logo or maybe two at most, you might have some success. But it's harder to sell these days because a lot of these companies have work vehicles that they can wrap, and they realize, hey, we don't have to pay Todd Castledine X amount of money to run this wrap and then pay for the wrap on top of it. All we got to do is wrap these three company trucks we have, and we'll get the same amount of exposure by driving those to work every day. And so, and then they don't have to pay that employee any extra money to go do that. They just provide them with the vehicle. So it's a different world we live in these days. Um, in a situation like let's just say for instance like a losing strike king, uh, they see benefit in it for the fact that they don't really get as much from like an actual billboard on the side of a road, but they know they're going to get pictures taken of the vehicles and boats when they're at boat ramps at tournaments, and they're going to be overexposed in those situations. So they're not having to pay for that advertising on, let's say, Bassmaster's website whenever they get that photo as the front gallery logo. So it all kind of depends on what the company is, if it fits what they're trying to do. I mean, I deal with it every day with a lot of different companies, and a lot of them they just don't really care. I mean, same companies that wouldn't probably go buy a billboard anyway. So you know, why would they get a mobile billboard if they weren't going to do it to begin with?
I'll just because, yeah, just I'll get on this. Does Sunline pay attention? Yes, big
Yeah.
time.
Oh,
Like
they're
that's
big time. They pay
Yeah,
attention.
Valster's one of the dudes that pays attention big time. He's one of the few guys that's in the industry that's like immersed himself into the industry and pays attention to all kinds of things.
Well, he immersed himself into analytics, and he
Well, yeah,
knows
but all man, but
there's not a
like,
person that pays attention more to analytics than Valster does.
but he's good about like when COVID happened, me and him had some long talks about what was going on and what wasn't going, more or less what wasn't going on with people. And then, like I've always kind of prided myself on, I've made some videos, and anyone on YouTube knows, like when I make videos, like I rarely do like, here's a, so we got like that Sunline bag, right? And I didn't go out there out on the boat and go, here's my Sunline bag. This is what it's good for. So like I showed, there was a video at the Bassmaster Open where I used that, like I have that with me. Like that bag goes everywhere with me on the
Yeah.
boat. I can go out there now. And so like I figured out another way to show like, hey man, this thing's actually pretty cool. I love that thing. I don't have to try to sell it, but here it is how I used it in my boat. And then I was like, hey, just want to let you know. And then he was like, oh yeah, I already saw it. And then they put it up on Best of Tour. So I mean, I know because like a lot of times I'll see my YouTube video on Best of Tour where I
Mhm.
didn't send it to them. They sought it out and
Yeah.
then redid it. So like those guys are really good.
Yeah.
And but I will say like there's like 4 or 5 things online or in YouTube. I'd say baits are number one, rods and reels, lines and hooks. like anything that you really use hands on are like the number one things to sell on YouTube. So like those companies should pay more attention to that than anybody.
Yeah, and honestly, it's kind of crazy because I there's still once again there are still some that don't see the light, and I don't understand, and I for the life of me can't will never understand if you don't see the power of YouTube and what we do. It's just crazy.
How that's a tough one, isn't it?
I mean, it just kind of depends on the what the comment is. I honestly I've gotten I have peaks and valleys. Sometimes I'm
Yeah,
like
that's how I am.
on it, like dude, I'll
Yep.
respond to every comment,
Yep.
and then sometimes I'm like, I got to go coach my son's football team, and
Yeah,
I
I
don't have
know.
time to go through
I
comments today.
rarely have I ever gone 10 posts. Um, I usually, but I'm more or less like if I'm one of those guys though that if you leave a clever post, like a really good like I'll respond or a question. Now if you ask me a question like a legit like hey man like I'll there's one question I'll get like hey what color what shades your lenses are in your sunglasses.
Yeah,
I've never not responded to that in my entire life. If someone's like hey what do you wear, I always put back silver sunrise lenses, right?
well, it's the only
Or
one
if
we wear.
someone's like hey what were you flipping in that video, like I'll chances are we already did that
Yeah,
in the post. But if it's an actual question and it's not a question of hey, I'm going to be on so and so like what do I need to do? I
yeah,
don't really respond to those because I'll be honest with you, those are we fish. I'll be honest with you, when y'all ask us stuff like that, we don't know what we're supposed to do, and we're 2 days out of the event. Like we'll change within hours of within the day. So like,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like I don't. It's hard to answer those questions, but for the most part, yeah, I'm I try to, but I'm more or less if you say something good and clever on my post, I'm you. Those are the ones I like to comment back to. And so, like Evan Barnes posted something about, hey, where's that? Where did you catch that one? Something about where'd you catch that one fish at? Or nice, it would be nice to have a waypoint. And so I got on there and I found a waypoint on on Darnell. Now I'm on like Lake of the I'm on Lake of the Ozarks or somewhere, and I'm like, yeah, I caught that fish, but I just put the waypoint of a place on Darnell, and I'm like, hey, did you catch any fish? Like a couple days later, I'm like, you catch any fish there? He's like, yeah, a couple 5 and 6 pounders, nothing big. And I was like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
something good. Like I'm sure someone's going, what is that about?
Well, somebody offered me on. I posted my boat for sale the other day, and he offered me something. I don't remember what it was. He's like, I got some copper wire. Can I trade it for your boat? And I said, hey, if you throw in some catalytic converters, we might be talking some real cash there. But I mean, like I once again, you try to respond back to everybody you can.
Like that,
Um,
like that's good.
yeah. Well, hey, no, but that's how they were inviting people was
No,
based
I
off
know,
of
but
yeah.
yeah, but I thought he was just saying, "Hey, I'll respond. How many do I need?" Is that what he was saying?
No,
Oh
no,
no, he was responding to
yeah,
the
MLS, yeah.
thing earlier. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
See, I thought he was going, "Hey man, I'll respond. How many?" Yeah,
Everybody's talking about this haymaker hook.
yeah.
Well, you still haven't given me any haymaker hooks, Todd.
Well, do you understand why everyone's asking about the haymaker?
They can't get it.
Yeah,
Why can't they get it?
because I did a good job.
Well, I actually tried to buy some and then
No, I know.
couldn't
I
get 'em.
haven't got like. Luckily, when I got them 9 months ago or a year ago, I've never gotten any since. Owner owner can't. This isn't a knock on owner. They cannot freaking keep up. Like it's
Yeah,
insane.
yeah.
And even to this day, of course,
That's that
uh,
weird shaped wide gap one, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, that's got like the weird like
I'm
it's
gonna
got
have
it's
to.
got
I'm
like
gonna
the
have to.
star.
Yeah, I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to message them and be like, "Hey, look, it might take me 6 months to get them, but I need. I'm about to be running low.
And you're
But
gonna really be running low when I just steal some from you.
at least 50,000. What's funny is no one. all those all the I don't know what the invite is, but because that's not really how it goes.
Hey,
But
somebody said, "Are you gonna fish the invitationals, the MLF invitationals?"
I'll get to that. But the 50,000 deal, like what's funny is all those guys that got all those fake followers.
Yeah.
If you ever looked at them, they went to like 10,000 to like 80,000 overnight.
Mhm.
And I guarantee if you ever look at them again, they're still at 80,000.
Oh, yeah.
Like they like no one ever moved up from that whatever number that is because
Yeah.
they're fake.
Well, see, but the deal is I think they have some fall off, and for all the ones they have fall off that the accounts get deleted or whatever,
Yeah,
they're getting followers, that's why they're staying there. They're just
correct.
staying stagnant.
Oh, I didn't even think about this. I don't even should I say this? Someone asked me, they're like, "Hey, you gonna fish the first invitational on Rayburn?" I was like, "No." Or are you gonna fish the first one? And I just go, "No." They're like, "You're not gonna fish on Rayburn?" And I was like, "Oh, it's on Rayburn?" And I was like, "Well, no, you gotta fish all of them." They're like, "Well, they were handing out invites last year." I'm like, "Well, they handed out invites to like certain ones, but for
Yeah.
the most part, they filled. I assume in the first one,
I don't think they filled up.
oh, I'll fish the first one on Rayburn. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's kinda where I'm at with it. I did the exact
When
I'll
is it?
say that. Dude, I haven't fished an MLF tournament since
Yeah. What are you
2019.
talking about?
Yeah, I haven't
When
fished
is it?
anything.
Hold on, I'll look at it.
Clay, yes, you can buy followers. Yeah. But, let's see.
February 9th and 11th. Watch, I'll probably have some.
Ooh.
February
That's
ni
a week after the first Open at Okeechobee.
February 9th and 11th. I don't have anything.
It's literally the week between the Open at Okeechobee and the one at Washita, I'm pretty sure. But
Dude, I don't have anything going on.
but you know
Huh.
how to catch bass at Rayburn anymore?
I do in February now.
Yeah, that's true. So do I. Todd,
It's
any
it
consideration for the NPFL?
do you have I mean, you probably have more consideration than me.
I'm quitting everything. I'm just gonna just
Oh,
stay home and shoot TV shows. No, I don't know what I'm gonna do next year. There's so many things going on. I can't even keep up with life right now. Pretty
uh,
crazy. I don't even know. I heard a rumor that the NPFL schedule is going to come out around the last week of October. So, and I want to say deposits or the early code deposits on the opens, from what I found out today, will be October 31st. So they would have to come out with it pretty quick and guarantee some money for me to consider it truly. And that's but that's the thing. I heard they got a waiting list on the NPFL that's like forever long, so it's not like they'd even let me in anyway, much less Todd or anybody else.
why wouldn't it? Oh, dude, they let us in.
Maybe I don't know.
Dude, listen, who says they had? I don't care how many until that thing fills up all the way.
Yeah.
I'm not listening to, hey, we got 130 guys, dude, because there is a big difference between saying you're going to fish and putting the money up.
Well, yeah. No, there's no doubt. I'm gonna see. There's something to be said about that. That's
Have you ever done this?
what whatever. Not a good bait, but has to push. No. Oh wait, no, I did once.
Once?
Once. You remember the ultimate bucket mouth baits?
Yeah.
Yeah. They had
Yeah.
one with I don't remember what the frog was called, but it had a very vulgar name at around the house, and it was a
I've never
terrible frog. I
I've
mean, but I didn't really promote. Like, I wouldn't say I actually
yeah.
promoted it. I just I have a really hard time talking about stuff that I don't believe in. That's why I have the same sponsors I've had for the
Well, yeah, that's why
so.
I've never done I don't think like I've
Thank you.
never done it. I know I never have.
Somebody said there's some talk of big names in NPFL. I mean, honestly, there was a bunch of big talks about NPFL last year. I think they said like Swindle was supposed to be on it, and
Yeah, but the problem was when they were going to do all that, when they switched it around and then they moved Amstead out of there and they did some things, it scared
yeah,
everyone off.
yeah, no doubt.
And that's, I will say that that's one thing that you can't do. Like you have to go with whatever it is you got and go with it and don't change.
Yep.
And when you start to change, it scares people. Me and Hallman have always talked about that too. God, there was something I was going to ask you about.
Who is John? Whoever that? Who is that?
I don't know.
I have no idea who that is. Let's see.
And yeah, I mean, it wasn't the flying lure wasn't a bad concept actually. Like some of that stuff wasn't bad concepts. Oh, hold on. This is I haven't looked at. What's the worst as seen on TV bait y'all have seen?
Oh, that guy's an American writer. He's a fly fisherman.
Huh?
I don't know that
Oh.
academic.
What's the worst as seen on TV bait? Like, is he talking about TV like the flying lure or like
Yeah,
someone?
yeah. No, as seen on TV. Yeah, like flying lure, that kind of stuff. Helicopter lure was pretty bad because it created an enormous amount of line twist.
Oh yeah.
I honestly, there's two that I can think of that I did not like. I mean, and I can tell you the one I like the best, but the two I didn't like, I had this real long arm buzzbait by Booyah that Bill Dance once did on a show. And I mean, dude, it was like this long.
Oh, I remember it had it like, but
Yeah.
it worked.
And I'm like, dude, this is like crazy cool. Like the sound's gonna be here and the bait, like they will never miss it. And I never caught it.
You didn't?
Thing
I
on
heard
that
it.
thing.
I think it worked. I never had one, but then there
The other one was the God, what was that one called? I'll tell you the one that I liked the best. I'm gonna the walking worm. Did you ever see that one?
the one that like you.
It was like 10 inches, 8 to 10 inches long, and when it would stop, it would curl up. And then when you'd pull it, it'd flatten back out, and then it would curl back up. Dude, I caught so many big ones on that thing. Like, I mean, just fishing from the bank, like big ones. Like it was crazy good.
Did anyone? I can't remember because I never bought any of those baits. But you remember that? You remember that like rod and reel? That reel that was, or that rod that was like this? Like it was a little telescopic, but it was only like 3 feet long.
Which
And
one?
it had this like, it was like a mechanical looking reel.
Oh no, yeah.
And but I think that seems like something me and you would go do a YouTube show about back in the day.
No doubt.
Because you wanted to have some like contest where
I
we're
still
going.
have the best idea I've ever had, and I still think
Was
that
it
this
the
would
4-pound
be
test line?
well. that one would be awesome to
Oh.
have a 4-pound line challenge with each other and see who could catch the biggest
I
bag.
don't know. I think I beat you now.
No,
Dude, the way I'm going now,
I
you
got
see
you
my
all
YouTube?
day.
Hey man, I'm all freaking.
Dude, I can handle 4-pound line, but the one challenge that I always want to do, and I will eventually do it, is the parking lot challenge, to where you find baits in the parking lot and you got to use them, like soft plastics that people thrown out of their boats, and you got to tie that on and catch a bass with it, and they're disgusting and melted and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think that'd be a fun one. Yeah, oh no, it's Spinning Rod Todd is his new nickname.
Spinning rod.
Spinning Rod Todd.
This guy, the pocket. I had to look up the pocket fisherman. It wasn't this, but that almost looks like a fillet knife deal. But it wasn't that one. There was another one back in the day, but kind of the same thing. Oh, it's more like these all things.
I don't think you have a rod that's soft enough for 4-pound line, Todd.
Oh yeah.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I just don't set the hook. I just reel into them.
I'm telling you, it will break 4-pound line.
Not if I reel into them.
Todd, I tournament fish with 4-pound line.
Well,
It
that's
will
your
break
fault.
4-pound line. 4-pound line breaks with like the lightest amount of pressure. It is incredibly fragile.
I know how to use drag.
No, you don't. We need to do a 4-pound line challenge. You would lose your mind. It would be fantastic too.
I'll do it.
I can think of a lake we could go to, and it would be so much fun.
Dude, look, man, people have faith.
With what? He's ready for the 4-pound line challenge. LOL.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
I don't think he has faith in you, Todd.
Yeah.
Hey, Panger will loan you one, Todd. That's what Wayne said.
I see that. I'll go. Like, we got a lake.
Oh, yeah.
We got a lake to go do it.
Yeah, we got a lake to go do it.
Dude, man, it's no big deal. Like.
No, yeah. I'd be ready to roll. Yeah, I'm down.
We got you're not going any oh no, I ain't doing the 4-pound challenge with frogs. We actually gotta just be able to you gotta have an open hook.
Oh yeah. Like there ain't no penetrating a worm.
No.
It is really hard.
Well,
just use some bait casting gear. Go ahead, Todd. You put it on your flipping stick and see how it rolls. Just that drag up, homie.
What's funny is so like I don't know what year it was, but I would say it was back early. So it probably around 2010 or 11, 12. Like I was drop shotting like crazy.
Yes.
And throwing spinning rods. I mean, you were with me one time when like I just kind of bag on it. My whole deal was, and I was right. Now, okay. I don't know if I want to do this right now. I don't know if I'm ready to admit this. I'll admit it. But anyways, back in the day, I was like, I remember Chris McCall told me, he was like, man, you can't, I don't know why you're doing that. You can't win doing that. And I was like, yeah, I know, but man, if it ever pops up and I have to know how to do this, I'm going to know how to do it. And I would say I was right. Like, I know how to, like, I caught him on a drop shot quite a few times this year.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying I caught some big bag or doing it. I'm just saying like it helped it helped get things going. It helped. I mean, I waded in some fish at Fall on it. I definitely waded some fish in at Lake of the Ozarks on it. Those are just my last 2 tournaments. So I know, I waded on a fish at Toledo Bend on it.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, it's not like this is the first year I just kind of bag on it because my whole deal with Panger and all that was is that of course he was into that whole numbers thing, but I was like, hey, look, man, over time, you better, and it wasn't even the spinner rod. I'm like, you better fish a certain way or you're going to get killed. Like you got to fish a certain way to win an event.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you can't win an event on a drop shot or anything like that, but I'm saying is over time, you better be able to do this other thing too, really well. And like the power fishing will catch you like even at Lake of the Ozarks, and power fishing caught me a big bag. I mean, that's really how I caught him that one day. Like I power fished him up. Now the spinning rod caught me a pretty good, decent little bag before I went and did that, which gave me the opportunity to really spend my time with that. But
well, and that's the way I look back at my entire season this year on the Opens is like every good finish I had either a flipping stick in my hand, a swim jig rod, a frog rod, something like that. And then I would like supplement everything I was doing with a spinning rod and be like, here, I added a 2-pounder today. I added a 2.5-pounder the next day, whatever it was. But the nuts and bolts of everything I was doing was like big rod, big bait, like rolling with it.
Dude, I love live. I don't know why we don't do this anymore. Okay, I gotta go. Clay did too. Clay went that one, which is really good because that's kind of what I said. Like I kind of agree. No. Hold on. I wanted to go back to his other one. I liked his plan B. That's kind of what I was saying is that like a lot of guys start with plan B. And I'm like, no,
you see the Chris Jones out of danger spot.
Well, hold on, I'm gonna get into that.
Oh,
okay, well, unless you want to hear where I'm gonna say I'm wrong, which is gonna be a first for me ever. I mean, do you want to go that route or no?
Oh God, just go ahead.
Okay. You've never heard me say I'm wrong, right? I'm about to say I'm
No,
wrong.
yes, I've heard you say you're wrong. You're wrong a lot, Todd.
Well, yeah, but I don't admit to it.
No, that's true.
So I made a comment last year in the opens on Rayburn with Hallman and all of us there that I said you cannot win a tournament.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Did I say on a drop shot or a spinning rod?
I think it was kind of a combo of both.
Okay.
Honestly.
I don't think you can win it on a drop shot. I don't know if you can win any tournament doing the same thing over 3 or 4 days. So I'll say that. But I'll say you can catch a big bag on a spinning rod. I'm not saying you have to use one, but I think you could get away with doing it and catching a 30-pound bag. I think only because of live scope now. If you take live scope away, then the spinning rod thing is out the question. But I think with live scope, you're able to. That's about it. Like he just gets up and goes. I say that's why I don't talk about things that I'm wrong, because you
heard somebody pull up to my house and I was trying to figure out who the heck it was.
Hey, so am I gonna have to go watch this? He is talking about Chris Jones, the Chris Jones from like Oklahoma. Or is it Chris Jones from?
Oh, it could be. No, he wouldn't have Chris Jones from MLF on there.
Yes, is it Chris Jones from Oklahoma?
It has to be. I don't know.
Clay, let us know.
Yeah,
because like I know Chris. I like Chris. Like
Chris is good people.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested on like what was weird about it.
What made it strange. I do like that Clay says Pangrak does start with Plan B. Pangrak, the more I'm around him, the more I understand where he comes from. It's not necessarily that Pangrak starts with Plan B, but Pangrak panics if he gets to a place and he goes to his comfort zone. It's honestly, in my opinion, it's no different than Todd pulling out a swim jig, a frog, or a popping perch, whatever it may be. That's just Pangrak's comfort zone.
100%.
So it just happens to be a Plan B for a lot of other anglers. Where in Pangrak's eyes, it's his Plan A, and then everything else is Plan B.
Totally agree. Like so, but here and this is what. Now, I'm not saying this is correct anymore, because I'm saying. Are we going to have to start all of oh man, maybe I'm going to have to start this. Are we going to have to start pre-live scope, post-live scope? A lot of our conversations might have to start this way, and I'll explain why. Pre-live scope, and I did it this year, like at Toledo Bend, I could have probably gone and done other things than throw a frog, right? My main thing was sight fishing.
Oh, you meant the open. I was trying to remember.
The open on Toledo Bend. So I could probably do other things, but I was like, I could have live scoped some, but I was like, I don't feel like live scoping. Like I don't have any history live scoping. So I have history throwing a frog over there or doing other things. Let me go try that. And then I would get a big bite or two. And so that's what, and I had a big bite every day, except on day 3. But first 2 days I had freaking big ones. Like they were both days I had, my main thing was sight fishing. But my frog was like, I had my biggest fish was a frog fish every day. What I'll say though is that like that was my Plan A, Plan B to like catch one. I think his was like wacky worm underneath docks.
Mm-hmm.
The difference, and I always try to tell them is like if I catch one doing what I'm doing, what happened? I catch my biggest fish.
Yeah.
Of every day. Like I caught a 1 over 5 on day 1 and probably 1 over close. It might have even been over 6. It was a big one, at least a 6 on day 2. And that was those are separators. That's what separates you from being 50th place and 20th place. And you catch 2 of them one day here and one day there. Now you're in the top 10. And that's basically what happened to me. And that's what I was trying to explain to him is like, hey man, but his comfort level is that my comfort level was I can go throw a frog for 2 or 3 hours. And if I do get that one bite, I can go catch some fish somewhere else. Now, granted, that's Toledo, but let me tell you something. At Eufaula, I threw a big topwater and swim bait for the first 2 days. And I caught 1 fish on it. Now it was It was
No,
a
one of the
4-pound
only fish,
smallmouth.
4-pound smallmouth weighed in the tournament.
Yeah, I didn't even know they had. I didn't even know smallmouth. Like, right, but I will say that, but that 4-pound smallmouth helped me get. I didn't have a big bag on day one, but it helped. It survived me for day one. That when I had a big bag on day two, I was able to put them together.
Yeah.
But
Let's see. Yeah, Mike actually said I agree. Clay, it was a very weird vibe to it. That deal with Chris Jones and Zaldane. So Blaze 4-pound line at Rayburn to make Panger mad. That would be pretty funny. Live Scope has to be making spinning rods. Hey, but we actually Todd and I were talking about that earlier. Live Scope has to be making spinning rods more of a priority to all events, though. I would dare to say, and maybe I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I would dare to say that Strike King, within their top 5 baits sold right now, if they had to go base it off of the last 5 years, would be a Baby Z2. What do you think, Todd?
say it again.
If you based bait sales in the last, like this year, and compared to like 5 years ago, the Baby Z2 went from 15th or 20th on the list to top 5 right now. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that and the filler worm.
Yeah. So I mean,
Hands
like,
down.
I think LiveScope has made a lot of different things priorities over other things, not just there. Todd, did you say? Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard he was bunked up with Randy all
No,
show.
they weren't talking
Oh,
about.
he said Josh Jones. Was
Yeah,
it
they weren't
Josh
talking about
Jones?
Chris.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
No, I didn't stay with Randy. I don't know Randy. I've never spoken a word to Randy in my life. Just
I had a conversation with him once, maybe twice ever. One time he actually did teach me something. I was parked next to him at Smith Lake, I think's where we were at. And he started explaining hooks on a Megabass 110 and why you use certain size hooks and when he switches his hooks out. It was actually pretty informative. I actually learned something from him. But ever since then, I don't know. I haven't
we
really paid
it,
attention to much.
it's weird because like I'll have conversations with Mullins and even Hackney and stuff, and like it- like I never really knew Ish, but then Ish from you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And even like Scott Moore, like I met Mullins and a couple of those guys from Costa when we'd have Costa Riders conferences and stuff like that. And then we'd have Strike King conferences and stuff, right? So like I met Strike King guys, I've met different Costa guys. So like that's where I met who was at that one coach. So Mullins was there, Justin Lucas, um, Christy, but I also knew Christy from Falcon.
Yeah.
So like and Russell and all that. So like if you're never around those guys, like Matt Steffen, I'd never talked once to Matt Steffen in my life. And then me and Hallman were walking out of ICAST one evening this past summer, and we saw Matt and Miles Berghoff.
Hmm.
And of course, there's a connection with, and you would be in there too. There's this like YouTube connection there because there's only a couple of us that do that. And I think Hallman had talked to Matt, but well, man, we got to talking for like 30 minutes outside of ICAST about all kinds of stuff. I wish I probably need, if I bet you someone's got his number, I would love to reach out to Matt
I
and
got his
Miles because
number.
like we had a 30-minute long conversation, and granted, it was awesome. Like what we were getting to talk about and like the different situations we've all been in with YouTube and everything. It was like awesome. Like I was like, oh man, these guys have a lot of interest that we would have as well.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I would love to freaking hang out with y'all for like a night and talk about all this stuff because it was really cool. But because I think they do things a lot of like how we do things, and so. But what I
Well,
was saying,
I've known Matt before he started his YouTube. Matt Steffen and all that stuff. And Matt's a top notch dude.
yeah,
Like
but see, I was never.
yeah,
But if I never get around them for any real reason,
yeah.
then we don't have that. Like whether it be at ICAST or wherever, like you're not going to talk to anyone. You don't talk to anyone on the water hardly. And then the only other time is maybe if you're in line, like if you're in like the bag line, if you're around that guy.
Yeah.
But other than that, I talked to a dude this past weekend at Lake of the Ozarks
We
for a
should just
while.
have Matt on and do a live with Matt.
I know. Well, I know that's what made me think.
Why?
Like,
Why
yeah,
did you not do that already?
I'm going to. I just thought of it. I'm going to.
God, Todd, you slacker.
Who is giving him the business?
A great wide open cast.
I don't know. See, we don't watch all this stuff.
As much as we pay attention to the fishing industry, we don't watch a lot of YouTube stuff or any of that stuff.
Yeah, I'm going. No, I mean, I know his channel's good. But I knew it would be because I know he's going to do things.
He's very detail oriented.
Yeah.
He stays on trends. He stays on some stuff that's pretty interesting. But he's really a good fisherman. Like he's a really
No, I know.
So I mean he gets it very well. So I'm not surprised when I saw how successful he's been on the YouTube game. And the only thing I'm more envious of is how the heck he's had time to make a video every single day for his whole life of YouTube. It's just incredible.
So, you did that one time and you lost your freaking mind.
Yes.
I tried to do it and it lasted all of like maybe 9 days in a row. I wouldn't do one on Saturday because it was college football. Not that I watched, I just know. But
I think I was only doing it 5 days a week. I mean, I was technically not doing it every day.
I tried, and I did it a little bit. I did it a little bit at Lake of the Ozarks where I was trying to go just not give recaps, but I was just filming what it is we do, and I was there, but whatever. And then some guys like, hey, you need to start making more fishing videos, and I'm like, yeah, I get it, I will, but I've been waking up at 4:50 every morning, and I get home at like 7:30, and then by the time I eat, I'm probably not going to stay up. I stay up late anyways, but I get in bed around 9:30 to 10. I don't go to bed then, and I'm like, yeah, I'm barely have enough time to make. Because when you do those videos like that, you don't have to edit, really. I mean, you have to edit a little bit, but it takes like 30 minutes. A fishing videos edits are like forever.
Yeah. That's why I'm frustrated. So I will say this. I'm not pumping my video, but I did a video. I haven't released a whole lot of like tournament videos this year just because I've been so dang busy with the show and everything. But I went and like edited up a show for Watts Bar, and I posted it yesterday, and it has gotten it just flopped so hard. Like nobody's watched it, and I spent some time on it, and I'm like, well, what the hell? Like, I just work my butt off on this thing. Might as well just sit and talk to the dang camera.
Really?
But yeah, that is kind of jacked up. I mean, but at the same time, it's why you can't contradict yourself all the time either. So
no, I'm real. I mean, well, I don't want to say I'm very careful about it because I don't think about stuff like that. I mean, we are who we are all the time, and that's the whole deal on when I've explained to people about YouTube. I'm like, dude, I went into this never trying to be successful. I just went into it just being myself, and I figured if people are either going to like me or they don't, and that's pretty much the case no matter what, right? Like in real life, people either like you or you don't. And then
I don't like you very much most
well,
of the time.
no, I agree. Like my wife probably is like you.
Definitely doesn't like you.
Yeah,
I know her. She definitely
does.
doesn't like you.
I think she misses me when I'm gone, and then I come home and she's like, you could probably leave again.
Yeah, like no, mine's always like, so when are you leaving again?
Yeah, until like today, she was like, hey, by the way, I've got things to do. You got to take all the kids to practices. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, I plan on doing it anyways.
I had to go to Tyler today.
Yeah.
I mean, Todd texted me this morning. He's like, hey, you want to do it live today? I was like, yeah, I'm driving to Tyler right now. I got to go pick up some stuff for Val.
Why isn't?
No, we don't watch Scott's vlogs.
Yeah, what is
terrible at life?
What is his
What's his YouTube channel?
No, does he do vlogs?
Yeah, he does. I think that's what he calls his videos on YouTube, his vlog.
Oh, I was about to text Hallman. Hey man, you got 5 minutes?
Letting wonder Randy knew ahead of time. No, I bet Randy did not know ahead of time that it was gonna be like that.
It was what? It was Jamie Bruce and the Great White Opens?
And he had him on there.
I
Well, I
I
mean, golly, that's
I
pretty.
can't
That's good though. I ain't gonna lie, that's pretty good.
I can't Hackney was like Hackney got into it about something. He was like, "You get these 2 guys on, and I wanna ask them some questions." I said, "I'm not." Dude, I get him going. I'm scared to death because I'm like, I said, "Hey, man, we just kinda hang out and just talk. It'll be awesome." He's like, "Yeah, yeah. But if you can get these 2 guys on, I wanna ask them some questions." And I was like,
We
"Oh my
should do
god."
that with some of these guys. Just get them
Oh,
on and let's have a conversation with them.
it
It'd
was
be
gonna be good.
fantastic.
So I listen. I don't really listen to. I don't listen to hardly anyone. I listen to. I listen to certain Joe Rogan things, and you'd be surprised about which ones I listen to podcasts because I never
I
listen to
I
podcasts.
know which ones you listen to. You're
No,
no.
no, you'd be surprised.
No, you tell me all the time. You're like, "Hey, I was listening to Joe Rogan today about that blah 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 blah," and I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah, like I
"What are
don't
you
even care about
doing?"
fighting stuff that much, but like I'll listen to, like Eddie Bravo and some of them, like some like and then any of the comics. Like I like some of the comics. Um, But anyway, but I did listen to Matt and Milliken, but I had to like I eventually had to turn it off because they were just going back and forth over this one spot and about this and that. And I'm like, all right. Like I listened for a long time, but after about 45 minutes of them going back and forth over the same spot, I'm like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Y'all found the same spot and well, after a while you can just be like, all right, it is what it is, no big deal. They did clear it up. I did like that part of it though.
I will say this: Matt called me when that whole situation went down. He's like, "Have you seen what's going on?" And I'm like, "No, like I don't pay attention to that crap." And he's like, and he shares with me what had happened, and I was like, "But like, it's the second day of the tournament. You'd already told me you were going to go there. Like, it is what it is.
Well, I,
Like,
I do I do agree that guys that have big platforms
yeah,
can do things. Um, it's kind of like anywhere else. I mean, it's all over the country. Like if you got a big platform and you put it out there first, you're going to win that battle. And so I don't know if Milliken put it out there first or whatever it was, but I'm real caught. Like there's
Milk
so
will
many
put it out
things
there
that
first.
happen to
Yeah,
me, and I try not to. I mean, everyone's gonna be like, I've seen your videos, and I'm like, yeah, but I mean, they're I've rarely called someone out on what without the video showing what actually happened.
you know
Rather
what is fantastic, and not to change the subject, but you're getting roasted in the comments, and I love it. I'm
me.
here for it. Yes. Freaking you're a flat earther, Todd.
oh,
Todd likes
oh,
the Joe Rogan episodes about UFOs.
oh, yeah, yeah. So I hate all that stuff. That drives me.
Fantastic.
That I hadn't seen all this stuff.
Oh, it's so good. I love it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the flatter, like he is a flat. I don't like list like the UFO talk. So there's a couple things. I'll be real honest with you. I cannot handle the UFO talk. Like freaking, come on, guys.
I
How
love it.
old are you?
I'm more there for that than I am anything else
I,
Joe Rogan does. I love
no,
it.
I can't
'Cause
handle that.
he tries to get into it so hard, and
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
and I'm like, "What are you doing?"
When
Like,
they get into the whole outer space thing and aliens and all this
did you
stuff, and
hear
I'm sitting here
Hackney
going,
talking about that the other day?
"Oh yeah, yeah." I'll eventually have to
We're
turn
gonna
it
have to
off.
have Hackney on and talk about the UFO situation. Like, we're gonna have to talk about it with him because he got into it on Bass Live the other day,
Uh huh.
and it was hilarious.
About what?
Oh no, it was on the bilge with Zaldane and them talking about he's talking about aliens and like how he's like, man, they're real. Like, dude, like
Oh my gosh. Great.
it
This is
was
great.
so good.
The only thing I believe in is Bigfoot.
And
And
he's like, why has there not been some coon ass that has Bigfoot on camera by now, or
yeah,
like whatever.
I don't believe in Bigfoot. It's only one I'll joke about that I believe in. Like if someone like asks me about it, I'll be serious about it, even though
Oh
I
yeah,
think it's a big joke. I will say about this is the only thing that cracks me up about aliens is that or the UFOs and all that stupid stuff is this thing captures everything in the world
in high definition.
And it's funny that there has been all these sightings up until about the time these things got invented.
Yeah.
And then once this thing got invented, nothing.
Yeah.
No more like only talk. Well, I didn't have my phone.
I love the videos that like we all have iPhones, okay? We all have iPhones. We all have this.
Yeah, how do you get the fuzzy video? That's how. Look, Andrew just froze.
You okay. Sorry, I think I froze.
Okay.
But you get this grainy video.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
And I'm like, that's like, what phone were you using? A flip phone?
Yeah.
From like the 90s or something? Like,
yeah, how do you even get it to be fuzzy and like
I got a video the other day from a buddy. So when we were at Lake the Ozarks, Kane caught his first touchdown pass he'd ever had. And I get this video and I know it was shot on an iPhone. And I look at it and dude, it was like something that was shot in like it had either been sent around too much or whatever. But like it was the grainiest video I'd ever seen. Literally. Like I was like, can you please resend this somewhere else? And he sent it on Facebook and it was like perfect condition. And I'm like, why did it downgrade that much? But Nokia phones have a hell of a camera. Hilarious.
Well, so the Save Our Parks ones are awesome. The only thing that Rogan's done a good job of, or lately they've had some people on there that are a little bit they get a little bit into some religion, which I think Joe needs sometimes. So I do think that I'm glad when he has some of them on. I do kind of have to turn it off when they start making like too many jokes about like like Jesus and like when they kind of go overboard on that, like, and they kind of get a little. I can handle dark jokes, but every once in a while they get going because then because I like want to respond, and a lot of times the guests that they have on, the way they respond, I don't like the way they respond is not how I would respond, and I don't think they know how to like. You can't like they're trying to talk serious to a bunch of comedians, like that don't work. You know, it's like talking serious to a smartass or a sarcastic person. Like you can't. It's very hard, but that's about the only,
I think it's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, we definitely need, after thinking about it, we need to have Hackney on and talk about this. Like, we really need to talk about the alien stuff with him because he's like convinced, like he's like, the Mayans and the Egyptians had the same person. I mean, it was.
This is why I did it. Like this is like look. This is why they talk about it because look,
Air Force has footage.
Look.
Oh my goodness!
I don't even know what.
Let's see. The Mats have annual UFO conference on Smallmouth Crush channel. The last one with alien ships in the Great Lakes. Interesting. You just never know. I thought it was cute to see Todd throwing a Pangrac rod at Laws. It is Pangrac rod.
Dude, I'm like, wait till we get done here. I'm gonna post my social.
So we've got a lot of things to do then, Todd. We've got to do a 4-pound line challenge.
I can't put that on.
Texas. Hey.
See, like that's something I'll leave on my social media. I just won't respond to. But
yes. There are lots of people.
I've never listened to Zaldane's podcast. Have you?
I've listened to just whatever he posts on Facebook. And a lot of times he's posting the funniest part that happens on the whole podcast right there. So but I mean
like see, that's one of them. Yeah, UFO. That's one of them freaking. You know how blurry your side scan looks? Exactly. I don't know, man. Like apparently there's I don't know, man. I just laugh at it. I just laugh at I laugh at all of it because it's like I don't know what because they go down some dark stuff and it's funny to me.
Oh no, it's fantastic.
Or the fact of or when they go to like the aliens and like they're from outer space and like they're looking at us. I don't know. It's freaking stupid.
We need to get on here and start inviting some people in and talking to some people.
We gotta find out who like believes in aliens just so I can listen to him talk about stuff.
Oh, you can get Pancrack all wired up on it. I promise you.
Why is he? Which way is he?
Oh, he 100% believes in that. There ain't no doubt in my mind.
That's about right. It's so good.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that's a pretty good one.
That one?
That's the one I was reading.
Man, I'm telling you, man, maybe we're doing this all wrong. Maybe we should be talking about freaking aliens and bath salts and stuff.
Jeez. Yeah, it's better than talking about forward-facing sonar.
Oh my gosh. Like that one?
They've had it.
What? Yeah, they've had that.
What are you saying? They've had that for a while.
Where do you think we got it from?
Yeah. Oh, and somebody said Randy Blockett believes in aliens. I guarantee you.
Oh,
Actually,
man.
I don't think he does. I'd be curious to know if he actually did believe in that.
like it's, dude, no wonder. I guarantee you that's why he talks about it, because every single thing now that is coming across the screen is like 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 it is like I could just sit here and like click on freaking it's just click on stuff.
Oh,
Oh yeah. The best. This is the best about Rogan right here. Is this? So Rogan, he will go. This is a good one, Patrick. I'm with you on this. Is it? He will go off about. He puts like 1,400 vitamins in his body, right? And he's all health nut this, health nut that, and then he's like, "Oh, weed? Yeah, weed's good. Weed's good for you. Psychedelics? Yeah, mushrooms? Yeah, that's all. Like all these drugs, like don't eat a McDonald's hamburger, but all these drugs, man, they've done tests that say they're good, and I'm like, all right, man, you can't be one way, and then
I mean, yeah, he does. He does go both. Like it's weird.
yeah, and no one calls them out on it that they're like, oh yeah, it's good. And I'm like, look, man, I don't care what you do, but you can't like have you listened to which have you ever listened to like I'll listen to some of those clips. And one of them is I have never watched the episode, but Brandon Marshall and Ocho Cinco and them.
Oh my god.
And like Ocho Cinco is big time on that he eats McDonald's every single day.
Oh yeah.
And Brandon Marshall's like, dude, that's not good for you. And he's like, dude, it's all. And Ocho's like, it's all a myth, dude. It's all a myth about all that stuff. Look, I've been eating McDonald's my entire life. He's like, but it's like, just because it worked for you and you were like a little bit genetic freak doesn't mean everyone can do it.
No, the amount of sodium. I mean, just
it's horrible. It's not even real food. But he believes it.
Well, Todd, I got to roll, man. I got to go pick up Kane from school.
Hold on, I want to make sure.
We need to schedule to do this again.
Hold on.
Like for real. We need to get Hackney on here and let's do this again.
Get Hackney?
Yes.
See, I want I think if we just get Hackney by himself, I think if we got like Hackney and Zona, because I could get Zona too, but I think I think they would look at each other like, oh, we might go too far. I don't know if they push each other to the limit or hold each other back.
You have to have them individually. So like it'd be like me, you, and Hackney.
I can do that.
We can do it.
Y'all go shoot y'all show because he's going to the Open, and when he comes back, he might come down here and fish with me for a day or two. He said we can do it then, so we might just get him live.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. Well, that's what I'm saying. We need to get him live.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so he said he's gonna come down and fish with me for a couple of days, and so then he's like he said he's like, hey, let's just do it then. So
One guy said bacon and cigarettes are the cornerstone of any healthy diet.
I had a little eggs and bacon this morning.
Oh,
All
man.
right. I'll start working on this stuff. I'll start hitting these guys up. I'll get Matt, because you just jump on anytime. We'll get Matt. I'll talk to I already got Hackney, Matt Steffen. Who else? And so at least those two guys. Who else?
I think we start there and then we just build off of it.
Yeah, throw some comments down.
Yeah, throw some comments on who you would want to see, and we'll see.
And don't be mad. Don't be mad. I'm telling y'all this right now. Don't be mad if y'all ask and we don't freaking respond to some of them. If we don't respond, that's probably going to be a big no.
Hard no.
A hard no.
Yeah.
I don't know Fighter.
I don't know him well enough to have him on.
Yeah. But I'm just saying if if you ask about some guys, just chances are if we don't even respond or don't even bring it, like don't even put his comments on here, it's probably like it ain't happening. Ish for sure. I talked to Ish the other day at Lake of the Ozarks. He's going to come back on too.
I don't know if Christy would come on.
I know. I mean, I know Christy. I don't know. He might.
It could go either way.
It could go either way.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll start with Hackney and Stefan, and we'll get that lined out, and we'll figure it out.
Faircloth probably would. All right. Yeah. I know you got to go.
All right. All right.
See y'all.
See.
Keep sending messages. We'll look at them. See y'all.